top 6, 7, 10.
Hi everyone.
My name is Aviva, and today I'm gonna show you how to make your own kraut. Are you ready? So, we have 3 ingredients that we're using today: cabbage, salt, and carrots, which I'm gonna get in a second. Alright, so let's cut up the cabbage. First, we're gonna remove the outer leaves and rinse it, and the water gets everywhere. Beautiful cabbage. Here we go. That's that. I'm gonna cut it in half. Make sure there's no wormies in there. Alright, this knife needs to be sharpened, but that's okay. Beautiful cabbage. Look at that gorgeous cabbage. Gorgeous cabbage. The thing about cabbage is it already has this prebiotic in it, so when you ferment it, it's already got all this incredible bacteria, and that's what you want. You want good bacteria in your gut. That is the secret to health, my friends. Health and wealth.
Aviva, what makes kraut so special? Why is it so good for you?
I'm going to tell you why kraut's amazing for you and other useless fun facts about it. But first, let's take a quick break to hear about something special. Then, we'll get back to this video after a word from our special amazing sponsor.
And this is JR. You're listening to the Happy Grass Show on WFG 89.3 FM.
Tune in Wednesdays to the Happy Grass Show with JR, 8 to 10 p.m., 89.3 in Atlanta or WRFG.org online. If you missed the show, you can always go to the Archives tab, then just put Happy Grass in the search and all of the shows should pop up. Enjoy hours of music spun by JR for your listening pleasure. And if you can't get enough of JR's thoughts, you can go to his podcast on Spotify to hear interviews, more music, and special thoughts. Please go to the links provided below to tune into JR frequencies 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, internationally.
And now back to our video.
Ooh, it smells like the beach. I don't know why, but it does. We're gonna put a little sprinkle of sea salt in the bowl before we add more cabbage. I mean, I just like putting a lot in. It starts to get the cabbage, to drain the cabbage from its liquid, so it starts to get liquidy. Oops, lime cabbage. Alright, okay. Get the last of it cut here. Boom, 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 bam. Boom, 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 bam. Boom, 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 bam. When was the first time you had sauerkraut? I remember. On a hot dog, but it tastes very different than homemade.
I personally, in my little child brain, never thought that sauerkraut was eaten away from hot dogs. But then I realized when I started shopping at health food stores that there was all kinds of krauts, and I knew they weren't for hot dogs.
Beautiful kraut. Oh my goodness.
Gorgeous. So you're probably all wondering, what the heck is this S-A-U-E-R? Why isn't it just sour? It sounds the same. Doesn't it mean the same thing? Well, sour and kraut are both German words. Kind of like pizza, I guess, is an Italian word, and it's not like we call it bread with cheese and tomatoes, so we can call it fermented cabbage, or we can call it sauerkraut, like the Germans. By the way, yes, I'm about to go hempdemic on your faces because, well, I'm not going to go a full 2 hours and 45 minutes, but I'm going to do some good cabbage-demic documentary for you because cabbage is just that awesome. So buckle up, grab some cabbage snacks and your Cabbage Patch Kid, sit down and have a good time learning more about cabbage than you ever cared to know or than you ever did know. The French, Polish, and Irish were just as into it as the Germans, but it was the Chinese who first fermented cabbage in rice wine over 2,000 years ago, according to GermanFoods.org. Wait, are we talking soju or sake or both? By the way, cole is the actual word for cabbage. You might get into a bar fight if you insist kraut means cabbage. The term means herb as opposed to a root, but it is very often used with the word cabbage. It also refers to someone who is offensive and disparaging, probably because of the smell. Kind of reminds me of what people might think of a durian. Maybe people should call people durians, but maybe they're also called krauts because they're not rooted. Without roots, who are you? Perhaps annoying. There's something very peaceful about being around someone who is rooted and connected to their roots. Ooh, it soothes me so. Unlike crowdy people. But kraut is good. Why would I call someone that is offensive crowdy? Crowdy's good. We should call them salamis. I don't think salamis are that good for you. I don't think. According to theculturetrip.com, in Germany, it specifically believed that the amount of wealth to be gained in the coming year is actually proportionate to the number of fermented cabbage shreds consumed. Kind of like how we Southerners feel about collards, eh? And speaking of superstition, though kraut is far removed from our vocabulary as a negative thing, back in the day, American sauerkraut makers relabeled their products as Liberty Cabbage because they didn't want to offend people with the word kraut. Liberty Cabbage. That has a nice ring to it. If we were to use this derogatory term in English, I guess we would say, you're such an herb. But everyone's going around calling everyone Nazis these days when they could just be using the word kraut. Eh? Now that we've gotten that useless information out of the way, let's talk about how good cabbage is for you. Nutrients, we know what those are. Who knew that a plain-looking vegetable that some say smells like farts has vitamin C, K, B6, manganese, fiber, vitamin A, potassium, magnesium, and more nutrients? It's also a perfect winter food because it stores well and it's inexpensive. We don't like spending a lot of money. We gotta buy Christmas presents. Like Scribble's soup, which obviously is made with cabbage. Now, the type of fiber that's in cabbage is a prebiotic, which means it provides fuel for good bacteria. I'm not sure why the good bacteria like eating the cabbage so much, but maybe I can find out before I finish editing this video. According to WebMD, cabbage also has nutrients that keep the lining of your stomach and intestines strong, and its juice can help stomach ulcers heal. Wow. And according to this article I brought up earlier, medically reviewed by Christine McStass, a number of studies suggest that cabbage could help prevent certain types of cancer. In part, that belief comes from cabbage's antioxidant and anti-inflammatory qualities. It's also because of something called glucosinolates, special sulfur-containing substances that your body turns into cancer fighters. Glucosinolates? They're in other vegetables too, including kale, collards, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and cauliflower. I wonder if that's similar to the DIMS stuff that I recommended with my Amazon affiliate link. DIMS stands for dindolomethane. No idea if I'm saying that right. So that's different, which is kind of cool. There's even more cool stuff in it. Oh, there we go. The UMass Chan Medical School is breaking it down. The Savoy cabbage in particular is rich in sinigrin, which is a glucosinolate that gets converted into the body into a compound that seems to have preventative properties against bladder, colon, and prostate cancer. Sinigrin, do I sense a grin? Okay, I just gotta tell you a couple more awesome things about cabbage. Red cabbage in particular has anthocyanins. These are incredible disease-fighting antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds. Some even say anthocyanins found also in blueberries cross the blood-brain barrier and clean up brain rust. There are so many ways to eat cabbage. What is your favorite way to eat cabbage? Thank you, Judy Pelkin, for this UMass Chan article. She really wants you to buy cabbage, y'all. And so does Representative Mike Watson.
You do know that today is National Cabbage Day. And nobody in this state grows better cabbage than Representative Watson. So I'm surprised we don't have a box full here in the front.
Have we mentioned that cabbage is good for the digestive system? You know, letting things go, getting things out. Now, that's a lot of freaking awesome, amazing ways that cabbage is healthy for us. But Healthline says that if you ferment cabbage, it's that much even healthier than all the healthy ways we've expressed. And the only thing that then makes it healthier is making it yourself. And my friend Evan Summers agrees. Shout out to you. So here's a list of some of the nutrients in sauerkraut, but I gotta ask, I mean, why is fermenting it making it better? I mean, what is it about fermentation that makes it even more healthy? Fermentation is a process during which microorganisms on the cabbage digest its natural sugars and convert them into carbon dioxide and organic acids. Similar to pickled cucumbers and kimchi, the kind of fermentation is lactic acid fermentation that the sauerkraut goes into. This is one isomer of lactic acid. This is an anaerobic fermentation where sugar is converted into cellular energy as opposed to cellular respiration, aka aerobic metabolism, which requires oxygen. Even when oxygen is present, some bacteria prefer that anaerobic activity, like the lactobacilli, which are found naturally on the leaves of cabbages before they start fermenting, and it starts the fermentation process. I know that ouchy cramps that you can get when you first wake up in the morning, that's also from lactic acid buildup. So you might be like, wait, how is lactic acid good? Well, good question. Interestingly enough, it's the same kind of thing that's happening is the body doesn't have enough oxygen in those areas of the muscles, so the muscles start converting those sugars into energy with lactic acid. Mind you, I'm not an expert in this, so I could be off here, so don't take my word for it completely. Do your own research. And so the solution, though I really do swear by having enough potassium and magnesium to prevent these cramps, and not eating sugar, and probably eating more kraut. But the solution is pretty practical here. In order to maintain oxygen in the body, drink plenty of water. There's an O there, H2O, there's an oxygen. And take deep breaths. Get that oxygen into those muscles. Oh, and stretch things out and decrease exercise intensity. I don't know about that. You gotta go hard sometimes. Just drink a lot of water. Long story short, lactate was considered a big part of this cramp issue. But I found a study in 2016 which studied lactate as a metabolite and a regulator in the central nervous system and perhaps being a neuroprotectant. Check this out. As it's taken up by neurons and oxidized into pyruvate, which is used for the energy creation cycle, it can be some sort of hormone and even involved in the complex process of memory formation. So all that hard and easy exercising produces neuroprotecting lactate. But can you just eat that lactate in sauerkraut? One study actually found that eating lactic acid fermented vegetables increases the body's ability to absorb iron. That is amazing. Sounds good for circulation. Kraut for anemics. As far as eating lactate from sauerkraut, I mean, it does kind of seem like the lactic acid does turn into lactate after it anaerobically metabolizes glucose. Lactic acid is very similar to lactate, it just has an extra hydrogen ion. A lactic acid test does measure both lactate and lactic acid. I told you I would give you useless information. I don't know why I'm telling you all this. In any case, it is the lactic acid bacteria that make everything happen, that preserve your sauerkraut or fermented vegetables. Fun fact, Captain James Cook would take it out with him on sea voyages and saw that it prevented scurvy. There's more to explore and say about the health benefits of cabbage, but can we just get real simple and say how storing perishable food can be an issue, and this is a great solution for it? These mason jars that I'm using in this video are just a great tool for survival and really great storage. I mean, oxygen not only affects the anaerobic abilities of lactic acid fermentation, but it also degrades all food, actually. So keeping it airtight and sucking out the oxygen keeps a lot of food fresher. By the way, I thought it was really funny when I was looking for a picture for these lids, I found these. There's lids that come with locks. How funny is that? Keep your hands out of my stash.
Delicious.
Anyway, not only does this tool create a sauerkraut that is preserved, but it also creates a very superior kind of kraut, a homemade kraut, because you are making it and it's better. But if you're going to buy it, these are some tips from the before mentioned article. Avoid pasteurized varieties. Okay, that's pretty much almost anything that's on the shelf, but refrigerated ones are less likely to be pasteurized. Also avoid preservatives and of course added sugar. hang in there just a little longer. I think this is interesting that the fermentation process has 3 phases. Basically, the kraut gets more and more acidic and different bacteria take dominance, the ones that can handle the acid, those hardcore lactobacillus species. There are several of them, but it starts off apparently in the first stage with Klebsiella and Enterobacter leading the way. They begin producing the acidic environment, and then the leuconostoc mesenteroids come and hang out. It's like the lactobacillus posse is like setting up the party and putting up the decorations, and then the L. brevis and the L. plantarum, they come to party and they're just like, oh yeah, let's rock this low pH. Now let's just talk about the Weissella organisms, bacteria, which are found around day 7, first stage. Though the 2 strains, W. Siberia and Confusa, have shown probiotic potential, which means they are antibacterial, which is weird to say a bacteria is antibacterial. Why she gotta be so confusing? But the good bacteria is the probiotics, and they're antibacterial towards the bad bacteria, and they are also anti-inflammatory. They are also lactobacillus fam, but there are some strains that are opportunistic bacteria, which means like similar to staph infections or strep throat, like you don't want that bacteria in you. Most studies say that they're fine, and they're, the food safety has validated the use of this as a probiotic or as food, but it's just another reason to maybe let your kraut go for 21 days instead of 7 to get rid of these strains that can't handle as much acid, perhaps. Like the W. confusa opportunistic tricksters. The advantage sauerkraut has over probiotic supplements is that it provides a wide variety of strains. Research has reported that one serving may contain up to 28 different bacterial strains. Generally, these probiotics nourish your gut bacteria, help you fight germs, take in nutrients, digest food, and even control anxiety. Speaking of bacteria, ivermectin is developed by a soil bacteria that kills parasites. And wormwood, by the way, is a great herb that is anti-parasitic if you can't wrap your head around the idea that a bacteria can kill parasites. I'm having a hard time with that myself. What's also weird is that bacteria is a plural word. Like whenever you say bacteria, you're saying more than one. Bacterium is the one unicellular microorganism, and that's all it means, a unicellular microorganism. So we need to change that, because whenever we say bacteria, we think of something bad. We think of germs, but it literally just means a little tiny creature. So maybe we should have like fronteria and bacteria. I don't think, to say good bacteria, I don't know. This language is kind of limited, don't you think? Speaking of words, have y'all heard of the word antioxidant? Yeah, I'm about to say that cabbage and kraut has antioxidants. Well, antioxidants is a general term, as this Harvard medical paper says, for any compound that can counteract unstable molecules called free radicals that damage DNA, cell membranes, and other parts of cells, because the thing is, free radicals lack a full complement of electrons, so they steal them from other molecules and destroy your molecules. Greedy bastards, poor babies, they're just looking for some stability. They can cause this chain reaction, destroying molecules and then destroying DNA, destroying bones, tissues, just deforming you. Free radicals are just like toxins. They get in you, they're not food, they're junk, they're everywhere. So we need antioxidants to break this chain reaction and protect us. How do they do that? They easily share their electrons with the free radicals so that they don't steal them from other molecules. And then there's other phytonutrients that rebuild themselves. Like they can regenerate their electrons with stuff because, they're antioxidants. And isn't it that ironic that we're talking about making something without oxygen and also protecting the body from free radical oxidation? With antioxidation, it's all antioxidant, word-wise. Okay, now take a deep breath of oxygen, which is also probably an antioxidant. Vitamin C and manganese are very well-known antioxidants, which, as I said, are in cabbage, and phytonutrients are in cabbage as well. Phytonutrients protect cells so that when they donate electrons, they can rebuild themselves and have an electron again for itself, to protect itself. and not be unstable. Speaking of unstable, cabbage is like the security guard for your brain. It's like your brain bouncer. First of all, simply by creating a healthy gut flora, which research has shown to reduce stress and maintain brain health, improve memory, reduce symptoms of anxiety, depression, autism, and even OCD. Secondly, sauerkraut literally might increase your gut's ability to absorb mood-regulating minerals such as magnesium and zinc. Please pause this video to read all these other amazing things about cabbage. I have got to move on with this video, or it's going to be like an hour long. I do want to take a brief moment to say thank you for your more than 1 million views. You're amazing. And thank you for helping me get to 2K subscribers by January 1st. You're the best. Okay, so now that you are utterly convinced that making your own sour herb, aka sauerkraut, is an essential winter activity, let's dive right back into the how-to body of this video, shall we? We are now going to put it in the bowl.
A little more salt. And we're gonna mix that up a little bit with our hands. Get that all mixed up with the salt so it starts to get liquidy. These are some big chunks, so I'm gonna cut them up a little bit more. Oh yeah, a little more salt, couldn't hurt. Mixing up the salt in here. Okay, it's gonna get liquidy. Now we're gonna add some carrots, rinsing off the carrots. I don't mind leaving the skin, these are organic, so the skin doesn't have any toxic chemicals, hopefully. Just cut the ends off. And I do like shredding them with a peeler.
But today we're chopping carrots, yeah!
Boom, did it, boom, 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 chicka waka 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 boom. Alright, I think you've had enough close-ups, so we're gonna go back to the other position here. Chopping up these carrots, and putting them in the bowl. Just like that. There we go. Carrots in the bowl, carrots in the bowl. Carrots, carrots, carrots in the bowl. Boom, 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 boom. Sliced real thin, real thin. Bam, it's in the bowl. That's it! Super easy. One more carrot. I'm doing 3 carrots and 1 cabbage, and it's probably still too much for this container. Can you believe it? So here we go. Now, we're gonna stuff it all in this container. Are you ready? I don't know. It might fit. I think it might. Might, but I'll tell you what, you do not want to stuff it all the way because then it won't have room to breathe, even though it's not going to breathe because we're going to suffocate it, and that's when we're going to create this anaerobic environment. And we have a suction thing to do that way, as opposed to some people, they just create the brine, and this will get liquidy. When it's underwater, it can't mold. That's the trick, but it also can't mold if it's in an anaerobic environment. It's gonna shrink down in a minute, so I'm gonna stop and let this shrink down a little bit, and then I'll keep stuffing. Okay, so I actually got a lot, almost all of it in here. And I really like sticking like the hard carrots on the side here because I feel like that helps to hold it down because it's gonna wanna rise a little bit. So I'm just gonna squeeze it all in here, and if tomorrow I see that it starts to kind of like explode out, then I'll take it out. But I think we're good because it's gonna get wet and it's gonna shrink a little also before it rises.
Hold on, let's go to tomorrow real quick and then come back to today, okay?
Oh, sure. First day, 24 hours later, or actually a little less than 24 hours later. And you see it shrunk just a little bit, and the water level's right there, you see? Got some bubbles coming up here, the bubbles. How high will the water get? Right there. That's the water level.
And now back to the prison, which is in the past.
Okay, we got it all out of the bowl. And the next step is you let it sit like an hour, and then you put this special top on it. You put it on, not too tight, and you have to make sure it's got this little thing in there, and then you suck it out. And I'll show you that in the next video. I mean, in a little bit. It'll be a different day that we actually try it. Now the cool thing is you can actually put the date. That's a good thing because from 2 weeks from today, it's gonna be done, or even sooner. Basically, just when it tastes like sauerkraut. But it could take anywhere from 7 to, you could ferment it for as long as you want. Okay, so that's it, y'all. You just put it on top, suck out the air, and you have to suck out the air every single day. Otherwise, it might mold. This is so exciting. Look at this. Take a good look, because in just a second, we're gonna have the kraut. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'm still here. Try again.
1, 2, 3. Oh my God, it smells so good. Okay, you guys. We've got these 2 krauts here now. This is the one we made together, I think it was a month ago. And I'm gonna show you this nipple on top here. See? It's pretty much indented, but I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. But oh, there's the pump that I forgot last time, okay? You just put it on the top like that, and you just pull it up, and you feel it sucking up when you do that until the nipple goes down. Boom. And this one has been, since February 8th, this has been fermenting, and I don't know if it's good, because it started to mold a little bit, but I took the mold off of it. We're gonna see if it's good. And we're gonna get some lighting in here too. Hold on. All right, so now we're gonna serve garland. How's it going?
Okay, right now, but I'm not sure after I taste this fermented sauerkraut.
Oh, okay. Now if it's not good, it'll be slimy. But we're not gonna worry about the one from the past. We're just gonna open the one from the present, which is also from the past. You just, and by the way, when you tightened it, you don't wanna do it too tight. So now it's got these handy dandy lids that you can press it and you open it. It's not the easiest thing, but. Ooh. I don't know if I wanna let you smell this.
Good time.
Oh my God, it smells so good.
We're going to mix it up a little bit. Wow, this looks amazing. I don't see any mold, I don't see any slime. We're gonna put some in a special crystal glass for garland. I won't do that much. I know you don't like cabbage, but we'll just do a little bit. That's good for you. And then we'll get my dish and we can taste it together. Do you want a carrot?
Sure.
So good for you. Not that much, we're just gonna enjoy a little bit together. Close up of our cabbage. Here you go. All right, let's see what your reaction
I'm
is.
gonna gamble and take a very big piece.
What?
He likes it. It's actually pretty good.
Wow!
It's actually very good, since I don't even like cabbage.
What? My turn. Mmm. Whoa! That's a magical taste.
It does.
What's that magic taste?
It's like an authentic
It's like
flavor.
angel.
It's an authentic flavor, like it comes right from Germantown in Iowa or something.
It almost tastes like flowers.
And how long has this been fermented?
More than a month. 40, 42
I'm
days.
impressed.
Really?
Yes.
I'm scared to try the other one. Y'all gonna let me know if you try this in the comments below.
It's actually good.
So is this something you can eat every day to add probiotics to your diet?
Every day? You can be a kraut maker and a kraut pleaser.
Hello! Okay, so let's see how hard it is to open this weird one that's been crowding since February. And today is what? February, March, April, May, June. 4 months of crowding this.
Yeah.
Ah! Whew, it smells like cake.
Hey.
This might make us like have some kind of like weird trip or something. It doesn't look slimy.
People get hot.
Oh, you know what the smell is? Is eggplant. There's eggplant in this one. I'm scared. I'm scared of it actually.
Why?
I don't know, it's just different. It doesn't smell mildewy to me, so I think it's okay. I'm not sure. All right, well, we're gonna put a little bit in my bowl.
You mean you're going to be more cowardly than I am?
Yes. You yet? Because it's too high.
Are you going to change the world?
Close.
Cabbage. Are you going to change the world with sauerkraut?
All right, I dare you to try some.
She dares me. I will do it. Since we had a good round last time, and
Maybe just a small bite of this.
Seems like we're down in the 7th inning, and it's like his nostrils have a flare reaction.
now this is more pungent.
Does it taste like moldy or anything?
Just pungent.
Alright, I'll try it. Hold on. Alright. It's scary to me.
What puts the ape in apricot? What have they got that I ain't got? Courage.
You could say that again.
Ooh. It makes me like breathe. It feels like it added oxygen to my body.
Really?
Do you feel that? I think eating sugar takes oxygen out of your blood.
And maybe anything that takes free radicals out of the body, like antioxidants, helps the whole body breathe in more oxygen, like the incredible ASEA water linked below.
15 krauts a day.
Whoa, it is pungent. It's like vinegary almost.
Yes.
You like it?
I think I like that one better.
Yeah, this one has eggplant and mushrooms, so it doesn't taste as like simple.
Right. My eye feels better now.
Wow, just after eating this?
Yes.
Really? What was wrong with your eye? Tell the people.
I had a little boil on the inside, got in my nose. But it's better now.
Nice. Now what I could do now is just put this in the fridge and I'm done, or I can keep it out and keep fermenting it and just open it when I want some. And then after I close it, you'll see the nipple is out. See? And so you put this on top.
You can spray the cabbage.
You pump it out.
What does it pump out?
Air.
Wait a minute, what else did he think I was pumping out? Fairy dust? I gotta ask him, hold on. What else did you think I was pumping out besides air? Like, what could I else have I been popping out?
Some kind of weird biocharacteristics of sauerkraut that you wanted to get out of there.
Like what?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about sauerkraut.
Biocharacteristics, is that even a word?
I just made it up.
I like it.
Bio-K.
What did you say, bio-K?
Well, actually, instead of bio-K, it would actually be bio-C in this case.
Fortunately, biologists have developed a list of 8 characteristics shared by all living things. Characteristics are traits or qualities. Those characteristics are, these are the 8 biocharacteristics of life that we could have been pumping out of the cabbage. Cellular organization, reproduction, metabolism, homeostasis, heredity, response to stimuli, growth and development, and adaptation through evolution.
Well, you learned something new tonight. There is biocharacteristics.
There are.
What does it pump out?
Air, air, air. So you take all the oxygen out and that's how it ferments because it needs to be anaerobic. If it's aerobic, that's what causes mold. So you have to check it every day and make sure the nipple is still sucked in instead of out like it just was. Do you see that? That's it, folks. And now I'm gonna give some of this to Garland and I'm gonna get out of his hair because it's past his bedtime.
What hair?
That's it, folks. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you, Garland, for letting us use your kitchen.
Well, actually, this is in my kitchen. But
This is gonna take forever. So, do you want to try it?
I did.
Do you want to try to do the pump? Okay. This is really hard to pump. Now that I opened it, this one is really hard to pump. There's like so much air in it. Let's see how long it takes. Nipple out. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is gonna take forever. 15 pumps a day. 16, 17, 18. This is gonna like take a year.
Okay, this is a teaching moment because I didn't realize that one of these things was off and that's why it wasn't pumping right. The first thing to check for is that circle-ish, grayish, translucent-ish sealer. Sometimes you don't put it back after you wash it. Also, the lid just might not be on tight enough. You might just have to squeeze it a little bit tighter, but not too tight.
Okay, it's starting to, you start to feel like a pull on it and then you know you're getting somewhere. Gotta switch hands. Okay, I'm starting to feel the pull.
And then there's always the chance that that little nipple thing, which is also removable to wash it, is just not in there securely.
Don't give up. This is like when you first make it, this is like how long it takes to suck all the air out. It's like a vacuumer. It's like you're vacuuming up the air. Oh man, that's just gonna take way too long. I'm gonna do the other one first. Okay, that's done. It's so good, like you feel the resistance and then you know you're like getting really close to being done. You have to make sure the seal is on. When the seal is not on, it doesn't, you know what? I don't think the seal is on. No wait, okay, it's on. Now I gotta start all over again. I don't think it was tight enough. Okay, now I'm starting to feel a pull because I didn't have it on tight enough so the water was escaping. Okay, good, we're done. We are done. Nipple in, bam. I'm all sweaty. Thank you so much for watching. Make your kraut, eat it up. I love you.
P.S. If you want another kraut recipe, go to this video linked below. Look how colorful this one is.
And it's amazing. And like the first 2 days is like you definitely don't want to taste it or eat it because that's like just like not good.
Oh, that's the end.